we continue discussing three planes of our existence, physical body. Today we'll talk about the dietary concepts that are available in the society nowadays. Food is very intimately connected to our physical body. Physical body's Sanskrit name is Annamaya Kosha, the sheath made of food. Of course, food also saturates our subtle existence, but in a very special way. Food is more related to our physical existence, and therefore before understanding the three types of digestion, we need to discuss the dietary concepts, and then as we discussing the three types of digestion, we'll be able to compare things, put them together, and see what is health nutrition for each type of digestion according to the objectives, to the health condition, and to the season, to the climate, and so on. We'll begin by saying that standard American diet is the most common type of nutrition right now, which does not even constitute the dietary concept, but is just eating for whatever reason, for pleasure, for calories, for nutrients, and everything else for that matter. So we will not consider it a dietary concept, but just the way that people eat before they give a thought and consideration and understand that their health is a direct result of their nutrition. First dietary concept, vegetarianism. Most commonly accepted, the beginning of the journey for many people, that presupposes excluding animal meat. The dairy products remain. Vegetarianism is a more conscious way of eating because it presupposes nonviolence. However, the way that the dairy products are made nowadays is very questionable. As far as the health concerns, vegetarianism brings improvement, especially in the beginning, but later it may still cause imbalance and maybe even some of serious health conditions. The next dietary concept is veganism. Anything that is connected with animals is totally excluded. So veganism is pure plant-based nutrition. It is more conscious way because it excludes complete spectrum of animal products and byproducts, but as far as the health goes, veganism may not bring the best results possible either, especially if it is practiced not for the reason of health, but for the reason of animal rights or any other reason. And sometimes the veganism may not be a very considerate or mindful in terms of some of the plant-based products are junk food, and combinations and the amount of ingredients may exceed the reasonable number in order to achieve the tastes of previously habitual products. Vegans do a lot of imitations of the foods that they used to eat. The mind does not let go easily. They crave the tastes, textures, and they put together a ridiculous amount of ingredients in order to imitate those tastes, thus making their food imbalanced and not healthy. However, another step of veganism is when people become more health conscious, forget about doing the imitations, but focus on nutrients, focus on the benefits of these nutrients, reducing and refining their nutrition to the whole food, plant-based, more conscious and mindful, healthy nutrition type of concept. And there they will start seeing even further health results, health improvements. And at this point, we can say that veganism can actually be healthy enough. Next type of nutrition I'd like to discuss is keto nutrition, which can be animal-based and plant-based. There is probably less consideration for animal rights and nonviolence in animal-based because that's direct result of animal slaughter, of course. However, this type of nutrition can bring the health results and fairly quickly too, because it is a reducing diet, because it avoids carbohydrates, which is the first line of nutrients to our body for the energy. And here we take that away from the body. That means all the glycogen that's been stored within the muscle and the liver will reduce and deplete, completely taking all the toxins that been dissolved in it out of the body. So it's like a cleansing nutrition of one episode, which can be comparable with just fasting. The fasting can bring same results. It can get you out of the glycolysis into lipolysis, depriving you of this starchy substance, which is glycogen, which is the retainer of a lot of toxins. We deplete out the glycogen and the body gets in the mode of lipolysis, which is the further reduction of the fat tissue now, which is the sump for a lot of toxins because the fat tissue is very inertive tissue. And so we can observe the reduction of the toxicity in the body, and the reduction of the fat tissue is just the reserve of the energy for the body for the time of deprivation. But once we shed it off and take it out of the body, definitely the health perks up, many conditions go away, and the person may feel lots of energy. However, this nutrition is fraught with perils, and one of them is the accumulation of even heavier metabolic waste product, the proteins of decay like pus, cadaverine, and putrescine, which then will be localized within the tissues in the form of cysts and pockets of that decomposing tissue, which then will be predisposing factor for the development of fungal and viral infections. This is the danger of the keto diet. The next diet takes it even further, which is called the lion's diet, where we exclude the fats, and therefore we are only providing the proteins to our body, which then will deprive the body not only from glycogen but also from the adipose tissue. The fats will also shed off completely, releasing the rest of the toxic substances into the stream for elimination, taking the metabolism from lipolysis into proteolysis with a further reduction of waste, reduction of fat tissue. The weight of the body will reduce. The body will continue retaining metabolic product, protein of decay, that the body will be accumulating even more intensely. This type of pollution, the metabolic waste products that are based on the protein decaying, is the most challenging pollution to extract and eliminate from the body in the therapeutic regimen. Please be cautious of proteins, as that is not the first line of nutrition for our body. The next dietary concept is raw food. Raw food is usually considered to be vegan, plant-based raw. However, some people would eat raw fish as well. What raw food brings is a lot of energy content, and that energy can saturate our subtle body. Our body is generally optimized to process the cooked food of any sort, whether it's animal or plant-based. The body metabolic mode or metabolic system is set to the cooked food. However, it is easier for body to transform energy into energy than to break down the matter for energy. And that is a very energy demanding process, and it is more waste production as well. In order to be able to process the energy of raw foods, we need to reoptimize, restructure our metabolic system in order to be able to get the living component of the raw food and transform it into necessary energy that our body requires. But that can be achieved through a very challenging schedule. However, in an unprepared body, the living component of foods will turn into a destructive energy and deplete the tissue and bring about weakness and exhaustion and fragility of the tissues and of the body. In Ayurvedic terms, if the prana is not processed by the body, then it will turn into vata. And vata is the destructive force both to the body and to the mind. Another nutritional concept is Fruitarianism, and that is the next step of the raw foodism, where the person is processing the energy in the most effective way. He or she is ready and achieves the very significant stage of purity of the body when the person can process the living component of the food in the most efficient way. Then that person is ready to go on Fruitarianism and sustain all the process and all the metabolism, all the bodily requirements by just eating fruit. This concept is poorly understood and is not advised by the medical system. However, there are some people who have achieved that stage of nutrition, and they've achieved the ultimate state of health and mindfulness. So those would be the main dietary concepts. Everything else that is out there is either the extension of one of these dietary concepts or the modification of such. If you have questions about any other dietary concepts, please ask us. We'll be very happy to discuss them with you, to go into details of each dietary concept with the benefits and with the harmful effects. Next time we'll talk about the types of digestion, and then we'll put these two together and see how each type of digestion can process and can tolerate each of these dietary concepts. And then we'll establish the understanding of what the health nutrition generally is.